Okay, so as we get into this, I just wanted to mention that this video was made before the Mega Raichu X and Mega Raichu Y announcement. It doesn't really change anything about the video itself, I just thought I would mention it for context, just so you're aware. And now with that said, let's get into it. When it comes to Mega Evolutions, some Pokemon like Charizard and Mewtwo get special treatment and get 2 Mega Evolutions. But what if more Pokemon got a chance to do this? In this video, we're going to explore just that and see what it could look like if more Pokemon got multiple Mega Evolutions. And we're going to start with Venusaur and Blastoise. With Charizard being the only one of the 3 Kanto starters that got this treatment, the other 2 definitely got the short end of the stick in this department. So if any other Pokemon were going to get multiple Megas, it would have to be these 2. And if they did, they might be something like this. With the help of RGreywind, who I commissioned the artwork from for these designs and who you can check out with the links in the description, I wanted to design these 2 to essentially be their version of Mega Charizard X. And that's honestly how I approached all the Megas that you're about to see in this video. With Charizard X and Mewtwo Y having such drastically different looks compared to their base form, and what your typical Mega is usually like in terms of a design change, I wanted to basically use that as a starting off point with these Megas to not only give them interesting designs, but to also help them stand out when compared to their respective counterparts. So that was the inspiration behind this new Mega Venusaur and Blastoise, and along with that, just like Mega Charizard X, they have also gained some new types as well. Blastoise is now Water Steel, with Steel being a type that Blastoise probably should have already gained by now, to be honest, and along with that, its design is now more literally based on an entire cannon, versus just having cannons on its back, which is why it now stands on all 4s. This was also done to help contrast with the normal Mega Blastoise so that each Mega felt like its own thing and presented a proper contrast between the 2. Venusaur, meanwhile, is probably the more drastic of these 2 designs, and believe it or not, it is actually a Grass Fire type now. This might sound kind of insane, especially since Venusaur is a starter and Fire is obviously another starter type, but I do have some logic behind this. Venusaur's dex entries constantly mention how the plant on its back is absorbing solar energy. So I basically imagined a concept where through Mega Evolution, the plant on Venusaur's back became so full of energy that it actually became a source of solar energy itself, which is where the fire type comes from. Regardless of whether you think it's realistic for it to gain another one of the starter types like this, that background, if you will, very much sounded to me like the kind of thing that you would hear from an actual Mega Evolution. So that is essentially what convinced me to go with it as an actual design, and I honestly think it turned out pretty great. Along with these 2 though, if some Pokemon were to ever get a second Mega Evolution, Lucario would definitely be another one that would be a prime candidate to get this treatment. As an extremely popular Pokemon and basically the mascot of Mega Evolution itself, this one is kinda just a no-brainer in terms of likelihood, and this is what a second Mega Lucario might look like. On just a surface level, you can already see how this design contrasts with the other Mega Lucario, and intentionally so, because while the actual Mega Lucario has a darker and almost more sinister look to it, this one is much brighter and almost feels more heroic, or you could even say angelic by contrast. There wouldn't be much point in doing a second Mega as well though, if it still just had the same exact typing. So this Mega Lucario is actually a fighting ghost type. It gains the ghost type by bringing out and emphasizing the Anubis origins of Lucario, who is the Egyptian god of the dead and is primarily where the outwardly appearance of Lucario comes from. So with that being a cool origin, and it being a great way to bring out a new type in the Pokemon, I thought it would be great as the basis for this new Mega, and I really like how it brings out just a titch more of that Egyptian flair as well, which makes for a great look in my opinion. Coming up next is another cool Mega, and it has been made possible thanks in part to my merch store. There are plushies and trading cards featuring the Fakemon from my videos on there, and your support of the merch helps make these videos happen. The merch itself is also super fun and very high quality. The plushies are soft and squishy, the cards are as good looking as any trading cards out there, and they're lots of fun to open. So be sure to check that out and pick something up with the link in the description to help support the channel. And thanks to everyone who has ordered something so far. When perusing all of the different Mega Evolutions to potentially work with for this video, another one that stood out to me was Gyarados. Not really because it needs it or because of the lore, but because Gyarados is simply just another popular Pokemon, and at the time of its release, its Mega was thought of as a bit of a missed opportunity. Many people wondered why it became a dark type instead of a dragon type upon Mega Evolving, when the Pokemon is clearly very draconic and has also been referred to in-game as such as well. So, in taking advantage of that missed opportunity, I decided to give Gyarados the Dragon-type Mega that it missed out on originally. Since Gyarados itself is already based on an Eastern-style dragon to begin with, this Mega was all about emphasizing that fact by making it even more draconic, so that there is definitely no way that it could not be a dragon type this time around. One thing that I also wanted to do specifically is make its body longer, since the long snake-like body is a key feature of Eastern dragons, and while it might not come off quite as well in the artwork, I imagine this Mega as being even longer than normal Gyarados, to help emphasize that trait even further. With Gyarados having so many connections to dragons ever since the very beginning of the series, and also being based on a literal dragon itself, it definitely was a bit confusing as to why it didn't get a dragon-type Mega originally. But if it ever got a second Mega, that would definitely be the way to go. Our next recipient of a second Mega is going to be none other than Blaziken. As fun as the idea of more second Megas are, there aren't actually a whole lot of Pokemon out there who already have a Mega who also feel like they're deserving of a second Mega. And while I don't necessarily just want to give all the love to the starters, Blaziken did actually feel like a good fit here. For one, we already know that the Fire-type starters are capable of receiving special treatment that the other two starters of its group don't get, and then secondly, Blaziken is also just somewhat special in the context of Mega Evolution, since its Mega was given out as a special gift alongside a Torchic for early purchasers of Pokemon X and Y, which ended up being a tease for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which ended up coming out a year later. So Blaziken also kind of felt like a good fit symbolically speaking, so with that being said, I would like you to meet Mega Blaziken X. Or Y, depending on what the original one is. Similar to Venusaur from earlier, this is another Mega that uses the Pokédex as a starting point for the design, but this time in a slightly different way. While we used Venusaur's background in the Pokédex in order to create that design, we're going to use Mega Evolution's background in the Pokédex to create this design. And I'm sure by now you're all very familiar with how Mega Evolution is portrayed in the Pokédex. It is described as a morbid, extremely gruesome experience where bones are broken, extreme pain is inflicted, and overall, it's just about as metal and intense of a thing as you could ever possibly expect in a Pokemon game. So, with this Mega Blaziken, its Pokédex entry would read as follows. The energy of Mega Evolution surges through Blaziken, breaking down its body, but allowing its spirit to surge in strength and keep this Pokemon intact. Essentially, the pure power and energy of Mega Evolution has torn apart Blaziken's body, but it also gives its spirit an immense amount of strength in the process, which has now kind of taken over and is what is holding this Pokemon's body together in this Mega Evolution. As such, this Mega Blaziken is now also a Fire Ghost type, which, thinking about it, would actually be kind of ironic since Fire Ghost has been popular amongst starter Pokemon lately, and Blaziken's other typing, Fire Fighting, is obviously very popular amongst starters as well. So this would kind of be an interesting commentary on Fire starter Pokemon as a whole. All in all though, this is what it might look like if more Pokemon got multiple Mega Evolutions. You'll have to let me know your favorite in the comments below, and let me know which Pokemon you would like to see get a Mega in the future. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed as well. Thanks so much for watching, like seriously, it's super appreciated, and until the next one, as always, I will smell you guys later.